room.
Okay. Tonight we are joined by Vanessa Brantley-Newton, who's back on the couch again, myself, Sharnae Gordon, and Derrick Barnes, award-winning author extraordinaire, is on the couch with us. And then we have as our opening act, Chloe and Camille. They are twins, and I'm going to just quickly read their bio for you. Chloe and Camille are twins from Central Alabama. They have been playing for 9 years.
Wow.
They are both up-and-coming juniors. They attend Booker T. Washington Magnet High School. Chloe which one is Chloe? Here's Chloe. Okay. Chloe aspires to attend Columbia University in New York, and she wants to major in architecture and minor in creative directing. Camille, she aspires to attend Johns Hopkins University, majoring in bioengineering on the pre-med track. So tonight they are going to be playing a duet for us, and tell us the name of all right, and tell us the name of the song, ladies, that you're going to be playing.
We're going to be playing Jesus, Joy of Man's Desire by Jonathan Sebastian Bach.
Yes.
All right. So whenever you're ready, take it away. Yes, ladies. Oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, I want to just really quickly, I want to find out a little bit about both of you. So you're currently juniors, or you're coming up on your junior year?
We're coming up on our junior year.
Okay, so you're both sophomores currently.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you get into playing the cello, and How did that kind of come about?
Well, we first started off playing the violin, but it didn't go too well the first time around. So we decided that, hey, Mom, I like the bigger instrument. Can I try that out? So we tried out the cello the second time around, and we found that to actually be our favorite and most passionate and more entertaining and emotional driven.
Yes. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, you play so beautifully. Tell everybody where they can find you online. I'm already following you on Instagram. So tell everybody how they can follow you and how they can support you.
You can follow us on Instagram at Classical Twin Cellos, and we're also on Facebook at Classical Twin Cellos, and we're also on TikTok at the same username, and that's where you can find our contact information and just DM us anything. For supporting, you can give us a shout out or tell your friends if they need different events in Alabama or virtual events.
Okay, amazing. Well, I wish you both all the best. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we let you go? Or you could stay on too if you want.
Well, to if any of you all have children in music, and especially coming up and growing up, is also a very helpful way to learning, and it helps with your education. Music is linked to educating yourself, and it also gives you emotional support, such as it increases your knowledge and helps with making new connections. And I say, me and Chloe, we strive to show that because in the South, me and Chloe, we recently went to Allstate and we were the only African Americans there. And we strive to show that darker skinned people, especially African Americans, can also play the instrument. It's just that we're not offered the same amount of opportunities.
That's right. That's right. So thank you so much for saying that. My daughter is currently playing the violin, and I hope that it's something that she continues to do. She plays the violin and the piano, and so I think it's just musical education is so important for our children too, especially like you just said, for our Black children, for other people to see that yes, Black people can play instruments too. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for your work. And we are wishing you all of the best with your future. And let us know, if you have any upcoming shows or anything that we can do to support you. I'll be cheering you on.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Oh, so good, so good. I love supporting our younger generation. It's something that I think we just have to do. So I'm so happy to support those two young ladies tonight. So give them a follow, Classical Twin Cellos on Instagram. All right, let's dive right in. Okay. Mr. Derrick Barnes and Vanessa, thank you for being back here again tonight.
Oh, it's a pleasure and a joy. Thank you for having me, sir.
Yes, please, let's give it up for these two amazing creators for their time and for their generosity being here tonight. Yes. So y'all have the sequel to the King of Kindergarten coming out next in May. And it's called The Queen of Kindergarten. So that's what I really want to focus on tonight. But I also want to talk to y'all just about y'all, right? I want to get to know Vanessa. I want to get to know you and how you became this amazing author illustrator that you are today. And I want to get to know you, Derrick, and get to know how you became this amazing award-winning New York Times bestselling author. So we're going to get into all of that. And then at the end, we will have time for some Q&A. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
That's great. Hey,
All
before we get started, I want to give a shout out to those young ladies' parents. They were so polite and
Yes.
such a great representation of their families. You can tell that they've had a whole slew of people that love and care about them. You know what I mean? So they seem like some very excellent, you know, young ladies who have a bright future ahead of them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
polite. I mean,
Mhm.
they kept calling me ma'am, and like I was just like, oh my God, they're
Sweet.
so sweet. So
Mhm.
sweet. So please support those young ladies if you can. So,
Mhm.
but yes, thank you for saying that, Derrick. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk all things Queen of Kindergarten. So
That's right.
excited. Yes. So Derrick, we learned last week that you wanted to do this book. Can you tell us a little bit why you wanted to do this book?
You know, I try to be authentic with each and every project that we work on. You know, after the success of Crown, um every predominantly Black event we went to, that's my baby. Um, I would always be approached approached by the sisters, to do a girl version of Crown, and I don't know, I'm just not opportunistic like that. I could have jumped on it, I could have jumped on it while the iron was hot, but um, we don't have daughters. As much as I love Black women, that wasn't an experience of mine. You know what I mean? I was used to going to the barbershop, and we have 4 sons, and I don't think it was my story to tell. But when V and I went on the King of Kindergarten tour, which was very fun, we went down south. I had excellent time. Again, sisters would come up to us and ask if we would do a Queen of Kindergarten book. So this time I felt like I could do that, even though we don't have a daughter. I felt like if we had a daughter, she would probably be like my wife, very curious, brilliant, multi-talented. You know what I mean? So I said, all right, I think I can do this one. And both books are pretty much centered around the idea that we should be very conscious of the fact that we are sending people out into the world. You know what I mean? And we should all be conscious of the fact that we are sending people out in order to interact with other children from other households, and we want to send good people out into the world. We want to send people out that are kind and that are empathetic, that are tolerant, people that are encouraging and that are good leaders and that
Yes.
are polite. You know what I mean? So um, that's the whole theme around both of those books, really. I have a daddy's summer camp that I've been doing ever since my eldest boy was 4, just getting him ready for school. He's 21 now, but every summer, right before they started, kindergarten, I would introduce them to poetry, quotes from famous African Americans. Obviously, we would work on handwriting, math. But again, it was more than just about the academics. It was about them being gentlemen, being a proper representation of this family. You carry that last name with you everywhere you go.
Yes.
Don't make a mockery of my last name. You know what I mean? Make sure that you are a proper representation. I don't say this anymore to my 3 eldest boys, but right before I would drop them off every morning, we say, "Be great, be a leader." And they go, "Be a Barnes," and run off into the school. But that matters to me. That matters to me that they are a proper representation of this family. And so I just wanted to write a book about it and create these 2 characters that come from these beautiful, loving Black families. And I don't think there were ever any books published by any major houses that centered Black children. Really, I think V and I did it for the first time, and I love making books with Vanessa Brantley-Newton. She's my favorite illustrator. Don't tell nobody I said that,
She's my favorite too. I
but
always talk about Vanessa all the time. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, she is like, when I write that picture book that that I have in me somewhere.
Yes.
Vanessa's gonna illustrate that one for me. So yeah, but it won't be until like 2027 or something like that. Because you said last week that you booked it till 2026. So yeah. But Vanessa's a favorite for everybody. But yeah, so okay, Queen of Kindergarten is dropping. What's the date? May what?
Is it the 27th? V 20?
I think it's the 27th.
Yeah, 27th.
27th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't wait for that. So Vanessa, I want to talk about how did you become the Vanessa that we see today? Walk me through your childhood. And I really want to focus on your joy, because you are so joyful all the time, right? At least on social. And every time I talk to you, like, you just fill me up with so much joy. So I want to know, where does that come from? But I want to know your story.
Sure. I'm a Brick City girl, born in Newark, New Jersey. Elizabeth, actually, New Jersey. And Brick City was not the nicest place. It's still not the nicest place in the world, but it is home to me. It is where I was raised by two parents that came from Low Country, South Carolina. So I am Gullah Geechee as well. And you and I had a good long talk about that. My childhood was mostly spent in church. I am the essential church girl. I would go to clubs and dance my butt off, and guys would look at me and go, "That's a church girl. We know you a church girl. We know you got that short dress on, but you a church girl." So I could never shake it, And then my parents, when I told my mom and dad that I wanted to be an artist, and I told them pretty early on, about 5 years old, I stuttered and told them that I wanted to be an artist, and my mom and dad looked at me like I had lost my mind. And it wasn't because they didn't believe in me or they didn't love me. Their attitude was, how can a child be what it's never seen before? We know you can be a musician because we're musicians. We know you can be a singer because we're singers. But this whole draw thing, that's for white people. And that was their attitude, unfortunately. But it was because, like I said, we didn't see. We didn't go to museums and things like that. My mom and dad, like I said, were from the South. They were hardworking people that made it happen on 3 and 4 jobs between the two of them. And my childhood, basically, my mom and dad didn't really have time to tell me and my sister's stories. So that was my job, was to tell my sister a story before we went to bed, because my mom and dad were sometimes working the night shift. So that, they didn't have time to do that. And so it really stretched my imagination. And so I would draw my own pictures and I would write my own stories. And I would tell stories about Michael Jackson and how Michael Jackson was my boyfriend, not yours. That kind of thing. And we would have fun telling and making these stories up. And then as I got older, I failed through school. Failed. When I tell you failed, I mean horrifically failed through school. I'm talking F's and D's all over the place. And it was not because I didn't try. I am dyslexic, and I have something called synesthesia, which I shared with the audience last week, which is the ability to see, smell, feel, taste, and hear color. And it was everything was sensitive to me. Like most kids would run on grass. I couldn't run on grass because I didn't like the way it felt on my feet. Certain foods I couldn't eat because is it going to be mushy? Is it going to be hard? That kind of thing. And then sounds, music, chords are everything to me. There are certain type of music that I will listen to all day long. Tank and the Bangers. I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to that. Moonchild. I'm going to listen to lots of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to that kind of thing because it gives me a feeling. And so my childhood was much like that, where I wanted to hear certain chords as a child, because when I would paint, that would come out at the end of my pencil. And so it was really hard for my mom and dad, because it's like, this is the child that nobody wants in her classroom. The teachers didn't want me in their classroom. I would hide my report cards from my mom and dad. I was embarrassed. I was picked on a lot. And not just picked on by the students, I was picked on by the teachers as well, because it was in the late 60s and early 70s where segregation was going on. So the teachers would let me know, hey, we don't want Black child in our classroom. Can we get rid of her, especially her, because she's dyslexic? Or they didn't even care that I was dyslexic. I was special needs, according to them. So I spent all my years in school in special ed. That's where I was. Didn't talk because I stuttered so bad.
Right.
And so, like, even while I'm talking to you and Derrick and the audience right now, some people go, how do you get through it without stuttering as badly as you did as a child?
Yeah.
It's because there's a song going on in my head. So as I'm talking to you, there's music playing inside my head. I'm very complex in that, but there's music going on in my head to help me not to stutter. Okay, so college, failed through college. Just not the person to make it. But I love to draw. That was my way of communicating. When I couldn't talk to people and was too embarrassed to talk, I would draw.
Right.
And that is basically, you draw every day, you're gonna get better and better and better. So for all you adults out there talking about I can't draw, trust me, pick up a pencil. If you can write your name, you can draw. It's not a science that only Vanessa and artists like her can draw. Derrick can draw, Charnay can draw, Veronica can draw, Tinka can draw, everybody can draw.
Yeah.
So got through that. But the happy place was after being rejected for so long, it's not other people's responsibility to like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your responsibility. The moment I stopped asking for permission to live, to be joyful, that I needed things to make me happy or other people to make me happy, everything changed. Everything changed. And it was a love that I had for Vanessa. I don't care whether you like me or not. It matters whether I like me or not. And the moment that I did that, everything started to change. Doing it over the years, just enjoying children. Charnay and Derrick knows I love kids. I love them. I adore them. And it's in me. And so I always wanted to redo my childhood in a happy way. And so I get to do it through artwork. So that's basically my childhood.
Wow, Vanessa. So you are completely self-taught. Completely self-taught. When did you, so you made that decision to say, okay, my joy comes from me. Was that something that you learned through therapy, through books, or you just had this epiphany one day? Like, where did that come from?
It came from therapy.
Therapy.
From
Okay.
therapy.
Okay.
I'm an advocate for therapy. Listen, we need therapy, y'all. Men, women, whatever. You need therapy. Okay. And especially for those who are Black on this call, the one thing that we have been taught as Black people, we're strong. We don't need that or whatever. Just shake it off and keep going. No, we need therapy because we ain't never had a couch. A couch wasn't available to us. Okay. Slavery didn't afford a couch. All right. When we came out of slavery, it was just go on to the next thing. And we went in there broken and couldn't do the things that we needed to do and still can't do some of the things that we need to do for ourselves because we need counseling.
That's
the
right.
moment that I got counseling, the light bulbs just went on. And the one thing that I learned was that you can't blame everything on everybody.
Right.
It's not everybody's fault. Some of this is what do you need to do for you? And it is the child that I'm nurturing on the inside, that 5-year-old, constantly to tell her that, you know what, you might not have gotten it right that time, but let's try again. Let's do it again. And don't be afraid to try. And even if you are afraid, do it afraid. So it is that talking, having my sister, having friends like Derrick, me and Derrick have sat and cried together, So it is having the right people around you too. Because you can't, like I said last week, you can't share your 18 by 24 vision in a 3x5 card mind. It don't work.
No.
It doesn't work. But how you see you is so very, very important. And if we can do it through a book like King of Kindergarten or Queen of Kindergarten, where little Black children get to see themselves on the cover of a book, when it was said that a Black face on a book won't sell.
Mm-hmm.
If we can give them a different message, how will this change how they grow up and how they view themselves and how they view other people?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's a powerful tool. And I want to give that to every child, not just Black children, but all children. I'm about the kid. I always tell people, I don't care about the adults no more. I'm done with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the kids I'm concerned about.
Right. Right. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing sharing your story, Vanessa. It's definitely inspiring for me, like to know that, you know, and this is for everybody on this call, like Vanessa completely said that she failed through elementary school, you know, and look at her today. Look at her today. So if that isn't a testament, I don't know what it is.
There you go. I tell constantly parents, if you have a child that's failing through school, come talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Come talk to me. Sometimes all they need you to do is believe in them. Believe in them, give them the help that they need, and yes, be on them that they can do it and that they need to, you know, work on whatever they need to work on. But believe in your child. Be an advocate for your child.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah.
All right, Derrick.
I think,
go ahead.
I would just say, I think she's a genius, really. To be honest with you, things that she could do. I mean, you know, if she had a learning disability, a speech impediment, just think about all the beautiful things that were happening in that mind, and to be able to do what she does now. I don't know if you shared this last week, but did you tell them, you know, the career that you had before you became a full-time illustrator?
That's right. I don't think I really shared a whole lot on it. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
What was that career?
I was a vampire.
A vampire? What?
I was a phlebotomist. I was a phlebotomist, and I specialized in drawing blood on children, babies, basically premature babies, children, and women with cancer. That was the three specialties that I dealt with. Very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And now she's one of the best children's book illustrators on the planet. That's crazy, man.
It is crazy.
Thank you, Derrick.
Yeah.
It is crazy. All right, Derrick, what is your story? Walk us through your childhood and what makes you tick? What makes Derrick Barnes the person he is today?
I am actually from another planet. I'm not from. No, I'm just kidding. I am from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a Midwest boy, and my family is from Clarksdale, Mississippi. So, got a little Midwest boy, a little country boy in me. My mother, Miss Catherine Barnes, with a high school education, she earned a certification, a CNA certification, and she used that to raise me and my big brother Anthony in a 2-bedroom house. And my brother is 7 years my senior. But both of them, you know, I didn't have a man in the home, but my 3 uncles helped to raise us. My Uncle Manny, my Uncle T, my Uncle Junior, then my Uncle Jerome moved to Kansas City. So there was always men, you know, around. But my mother, she's something else. It seemed like she worked all the time. She was only off on Thursdays and Saturdays, but she was always, you know, your mother's your first teacher, obviously, but she was my first fan. She was a big fan of my work. Everything I wrote, I always centered it around her and how I felt about her, you know what I mean? And she would take me to the library early. So those are some of my earliest, you know, memories of a library that's now torn down. maybe it's like 6 or 7 blocks away from our home. She used to take me to the library and stack up this wagon full of books, and I would take it back home. And I would get my closet. My brother helped me to tie a shoestring around a flashlight, tied up in the closet, and I would put pillows in the closet and sit in there and read. And he thought I was a weirdo. This my brother is very much an extrovert, but I am not. I was a extremely shy and bashful kid. I still am. I still have a little bit of that in me. But I had a lot of encouragement, from home. I was in the gifted and talented program in the Kansas City Public School District from the 2nd grade to the 8th grade. And I went to a different school every year. It helped me to go around the city, and I was in school with white children and Asian children. I had Muslim friends and African friends. So that program really helped me out a lot. But I started writing when I was in the 5th grade. I started writing short stories. Up until that point, just a huge music fan. As you can see on the back of my wall right there, those are mine. I think I got eight of my favorite albums. If I was stranded on a deserted island, those would be the albums I would take with me. And I always talk about in the albums for our young viewers here, they had these liner notes with all the lyrics from every song. And I would copy down those lyrics from Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Stevie Wonder, and Johnny Guitar Watson, and Roberta Flack, who was the first woman I ever fell in love with. Just copy down these lyrics and just, how tangible Stevie Wonder's lyrics are.
Yes.
That was my first introduction to poetry, really. And so I really try to pattern my writing style. Which hopefully, when you read my books, they come off like song lyrics, because I'm, heavily influenced by music. I'm a big jazz music fan. I love John Coltrane's my favorite creative of all time. Charlie Parker, who's from, Kansas City, Langston Hughes, Derrick Walcott, huge influences of mine. And I see my writing as, visual art. I try to paint a picture. So we use these adjectives and verbs as I see them as colors, violet and a nice shade of red, and, green. So I see my writing that way. I think that's why I work so well with Vanessa.
Yes.
We see things a little bit differently. We communicate well. And hopefully this isn't our last book. We need to talk about the first time we met when we did the Ruby and the Book of Boy series. Came out in 2007. You remember that, V? We met at the.
I remember like it was yesterday.
At the Javits Center, right? We met at the Javits Center in 2007. I met her, and I met her sister, Coy. Shout out to Coy. They were just so sweet to me. They treated me like I was a long lost brother. I'm talking about the first day we met, and man, that's a long time ago, man.
It was a long time ago, but we clicked.
Still doing it, baby.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Amazing. And so you, Derrick, have now, gone on to win multiple awards with your books. You just recently announced a new graphic novel coming out. What's the title?
It is Victory Stand, Raising My Fist for Justice. And I wrote it about the life of 1968 Olympic gold medalist Tommy Smith, who's probably most famous for raising his fist on the victory stand. Just to, I guess to protest the injustices that were happening in this country in 1968. It's 2022. It doesn't seem like a lot has changed, but he wrote. First of all, he had to win the race.
Yes.
He broke a record. He was the first human being to record under 20 seconds in the 200-meter race. So So he had to win the race first of all in order to be at that pinnacle peak on that victory stand. And I had I just had a great time going down there. I went down to Stone Mountain, Georgia twice to meet with he and his wife, Mr. Lois, and she was extremely sweet to me. They treated me like a son, and I got notes, and he sent me handwritten notes. I have handwritten notes from, Tommy Smith, and just at first I was going to write the book in verse. It was going to be a novel in verse, but I decided to do a graphic novel. I've never done one before, and I'm always about challenging myself and becoming a better writer and just writing in different genres. And it was a beautiful book, beautifully illustrated by my brother Dawood Anabalia, and he is super talented, brother. It's the first time I worked with a comic book artist. So yeah, we got, just like Vanessa, I'm sure you have a ton of books coming out the next 2 or 3 years. So that's one of them.
And,
She
does. And I'm doing the cover reveal for her next picture book. Did you hear about this already, Vanessa?
No. I heard a little bit.
Okay. So I was just contacted yesterday to reveal the cover for I think I could say the title. Mary Had a Little Plan. Yes.
Right. Mary's back.
Yes, Mary's back.
Mary's back. So it's the sequel to Mary Had a Little what was the first one? Mary had
a Little Glam.
Yes, Mary Had a Little Glam. So now Mary is back again and she has a plan. So
yes, she does.
Yes. So I mean the cover is I knew it was gonna be so cute, and it really is.
I had such fun.
Yeah.
Tammy Sauer came up with a fantastic story, and I had fun designing that character and bringing her to life. But I think what really gives me life is when I see little girls dressed up as Mary, for whatever, for their birthday, for Halloween, or whatever. It is the most beautiful thing is to see them so dressed up and so happy to be Mary, and that anybody can be Mary. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I can't wait for that. And when does that one come out? Because I think they said August. Is it August? Yeah.
August.
Yeah. So Mary Had a Little Plan is coming out in August. So I'm looking forward to that one. But I mean, both of y'all, I just have so many. And Derrick, I understand are you currently still writing that middle grade novel, or are you done with that?
Oh man, this book has owned me for about 6 months, man. It's been tough, but I think it's finally gonna let me go in the next 2 weeks or so. I got like 3 more chapters to finish. But
good for you.
Yeah. It's entitled The Incredibly Human Henson Blaze, and this is gonna be my magnum opus. I just try to, I don't know how you are, V, but I just try to outdo everything I did last. Again, I want to remain a student of this craft. I want to get better.
Yeah.
And I'm super competitive, as V can tell you. Even some of our peers that I respect and love, I'm trying to chase and hunt everybody down. I want to be the best. I want to be the best at what I do. And this book, I put a lot into it. We signed this contract in 2018 after Crown, won everything, but it was put on hold. I switched editors. It's going to be published by Viking Press, and so I just got back on it last year. But it's tough, man. This is a part of the business that you don't really think about when you're struggling. And I struggled for a long time, and it just seemed like the deals just kept coming once everything happened with Crown. But what they don't tell you is that you have to sacrifice a lot of time. I feel like I haven't been myself in the past 6 months. I haven't been able to give everything that I've want to give to my family. I'm always thinking about this book, thinking about these characters. Have been able to be the father and the husband that I want to be. I mean, we've gone on vacations, but my mind is always ready to get back to it. So I can't wait for this book to be done. And I'm
Mhm.
going to take like a 2-week break and then get back to it. I'm working on our third book with Gordon C. James. The
Mhm.
book is
Oh,
He'll
Derrick.
come back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we lost him. He'll be back. Okay. Uh so Vanessa, what else do you have coming out that you're allowed to talk about? I know we got Mary had a little plan. I was Queen of Kindergarten. So anything else that you are allowed to talk about?
Yes. I have two books actually. One is called Nesting Doll. Oh, there
Oh
he
yeah,
is.
we talked about nesting dolls. Yep.
Okay. And then the other one is called um, Shake It Off. That one's
Oh,
called Shake It Off.
okay.
And
What's that about?
it's a story that I tell before I do my TED Talk. And it is a story of a little goat that has a lot of problems. And that people think the best thing for her when she falls down a well is to bury her. And what she does is every time she feels the dirt on her back, she shakes it off and she packs it underneath her feet until she elevates out of the well, the golden goat she was. And basically, it's the story of my life, basically. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm looking forward to that book. But that's with Nancy Polson Books, and Derrick and I both do books with Nancy Polson. Nancy is shout out to Nancy. Nancy Polson is one of the most amazing, generous, kind, uh, brilliant women in publishing, and I really appreciate her.
Yeah.
Derrick?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when
I
does
think that book is. I was just saying. I think that book is going to be a instant classic.
Mhm.
Shake It Off. Shake It Off is.
Shake it off. That's it.
Yeah. Are you the author illustrator on that
Yes.
or oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's my book, and uh, just that any parent again, any parent that's doubting your kid and wondering what the heck is going on, this book is for you and your baby. This is
Hmm.
for you and your baby. Sometimes we gotta shake it off and pack it under, keep it
Right.
moving.
Yeah. And when is that coming out? Is that this year?
That's going to be not this year, next year.
Okay. 2023. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about again a Queen of Kindergarten. Now, Derrick, I've talked to you before, and you make no mistake that you write for Black children. I mean, you said I've heard you say this a couple of times. You write for there we go. You write for everybody, but your primary focus is writing for Black children. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I used to, before things really opened up for me, and after my eighth book, um, We Could Be Brothers, there was a long drought between 2010 and 2017. When Crown came out, and I had to take some side jobs. If you could name it and it's legal, I did it between 2004 and 2016. Man,
Yeah.
just trying to raise our family, and my wife went through medical school, um, residency. We survived Hurricane Katrina. It's been a long road. People see you now and think it was like an overnight thing, man, but this has been a long road. But between that gap between 2010 2016, I wrote like 35 books, man, that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted these books, but I stayed up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning working on graphic novels, middle grade novels, picture books, called V a lot, you just can't go wrong when you got a whole cluster of Black women praying for you. She was definitely one of them.
Mhm.
And I appreciate her and love her for that. Um, but I was trying to write like Black versions of like white books that were, successful. The Twilight. I remember the Twilight series was very popular during
Yeah.
that stretch. And I remember I wrote a series called Dracula Jones about a little Black boy that it was crazy. I tried to just trying to weed through these gatekeepers at a lot of these
Yeah.
major houses. And I remember we moved to Charlotte in 2014, and
Mhm.
I was in this office that I'm in right now. and it was completely naked in here. I mean, there's no furniture, there's no books on the shelves. I used to sit on the floor right over there and work on ideas for books. And my second eldest boy, Solo, I think Solo was probably about 11, 10 or 11 at the time. I remember him coming in here and he was chewing on an apple. And he looked down at me and I was working. He's like, Daddy, you know what you should do? You should write the blackest book ever. You already not getting any book deals. You should just write black books.
Yes.
And I never will forget that. He doesn't remember saying that, but I remember that because it really sparked something in me to think about my body of work. Like, what do you want to be remembered for? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about my core audience, which is Black children. And I thought about the books that we grew up with. And other than, Vanessa's favorite childhood book, Snowy Day, we didn't see any books that were about Black children just being children. And I didn't want to, I respect the other Black, children's book creators and authors and, illustrators. And these stories have to be told, but I didn't want to do any books about civil rights.
Yes.
I didn't want to do any books about us being, runaway slaves. If I was going to write those books, I wanted to write it about, the brothers and sisters that were, revolutionary, that were, uh, freedom fighters. And I also just wanted to write books where Black children were confident. When you look at Crown, when you look at I Am Every Good Thing, those are confident, cocky Black boys that are from families where people lift them up, hold them up, celebrate them. And so I'm so grateful that Solomon said that to me, because like 2 weeks later, I wrote Crown, an ode to a fresh cut. And I used very authentic language. It was the first time I used language that I felt comfortable using, because the editor was a brilliant Black woman, Denise Milner. And she understood the language. She knew what a do-rag was. She knew what a fade was. You know what I mean? So that book changed my life. And so I think, there was a point after Crown hit where I was saying, in every single interview that I write for Black children, and I still say that. But I also have to be mindful of the fact that I'm creating, literature for all children for the first time. This is their first exposure to literature. So I want white children to be conscious of the fact that the world doesn't center around them, that Black children, I want the Black girl to be the most brilliant person between ages. I want the Black boy to not only be the muscle and not only be the athlete, but he's also the scientist. He's also the leader. I want them to see other children.
We losing him.
It was so good.
I know. I'm sure he'll be back. All right. We're going to take a couple of questions. So if you have any questions, you can start. Oh, there you go. You're back.
The kids just went to the movie, so I don't have an excuse why I keep being dropped. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry,
and it was so good what you were saying. You were going on. Yeah.
Well, I was just saying that I want to make sure that white children see Black children being the center of the universe. That I want them to see Black girls be the smartest character within the pages. I want them to see Black boys not just be the muscle, not just be the one entertaining them and playing sports, but also, I want them to see the Black boy being the leader and showing, self-respect and showing love for himself and being the smartest character within the pages. So I feel like I have a moral obligation and an obligation as a Black artist, an obligation as a Black father and a Black husband, that I have to create these characters. There were so many people that came before us that allow us to do what we're doing now. And every time I go home next week. I go home to Kansas City, Missouri. There's a street called 18th and Vine in Kansas City where there's a black baseball, a Negro League baseball museum, and there's a jazz museum, and there's a big bust of Charlie Parker, probably the greatest saxophone player of all time. And every time I go home, I sit in front of that bus and have a conversation with Charlie Parker. Let's let him know that I am holding it down, and he doesn't have to worry about the future of Kansas City arts. I am hopefully being a great representation of that city and of all the black artists that came before us. We have to, continue to hold it down. It's like I was saying earlier about, these boys. I want them to be a proper representation of this family. Well, we have to take this mantle and keep running with it and make sure that we are creating artwork that uplifts black people.
Yes.
That is, make sure that we show how much we love ourselves, how much we love our children, how much we respect and love the neighborhoods that we come from, whether you come from Brooklyn or Brick City or Miami or Oakland, that we love our children. And we're going to continue to lift them up with the work that we do. Continuing with the Queen of Kindergarten.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, the Queen of Kindergarten. We can't wait. And we heard last week about the controversy surrounding the King of Kindergarten, specifically with like one particular illustration. And so I'm so happy that y'all brought that little girl back into this book and made her the center. So I can't wait to read it and to share it. And I just know it's going to be such a great book. So I'm just so excited about it. All right. If there are any questions, you can pop them in the chat, or you can step up to the mic. If you see at the bottom left, there is a step to the mic button. If you want to press that, you can step to the mic. You can have your camera on or off, or if you want to pop a question in the chat, you can do that. So while people are thinking about their questions, I want to just ask a little bit more. Vanessa, when you are not writing or illustrating, what are you doing?
I would tell people constantly, if I was not an illustrator or a writer, I would be a chef. I would definitely be a chef. Yes. I love to cook. It is one of my favorite things to do. When I am happy, when I am sad, when I am stressed, when I am blessed, I just want to cook. I love cooking.
Okay. How about you, Derrick? What are you doing when you're not when you're not writing or training your boys or whatever? What are you doing?
Man, I really don't know. My whole everything is centered around them. It's centered around my wife and my sons. Although I like to spend a lot of time alone. It's really hard when you have a household full of people. This office that I'm in right now, I'm about to put a door up here so that I can have some peace and quiet. But I think, when I'm not with them, I listen to jazz music. I exercise. When we're not on the road doing book stuff, I like to take road trips with them. I like to go on trips with my wife, just us two. It's a different kind of vibe when you travel with just y'all two. Y'all know how it is. I have children.
Yeah.
It's just a different feeling when it's just y'all two. So I like to plan trips. Again, just spend a lot of time by myself and just get a chance to just zone out and kind of push my reset button. I ride bikes. We have a ton of bikes in our garage. I like to go bike riding. I did love to go and listen to live music, but we haven't really done that, obviously, in a long time. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Somebody's asking a question. They say, thanks for doing this. Do you plan on writing a book together? That is from Maya. Any plans for you both to write a book together?
Oh, I want to work with Derrick forever. I mean, that's just, whether he writes the book or we write the book together or whatever. But I just love the way Derrick writes. It's kind of like for me, like a band situation. Some of you know that I'm a singer. Uh, Singers, yeah, I can play drums or whatever, but Derrick is such a fantastic drummer that I let Derrick write the book and let Vanessa, what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an
yeah.
pepper situation. He is salt, I'm the pepper. We will continue to work this way. It just works that way. I'm not saying that we won't write a book together, but I love the power that Derrick comes with when he writes. It's not everybody that writes that I get to enjoy as much as I get to enjoy Derrick. We both live here in Charlotte. Um, uh, his wife Tinka. If you've never seen Tinka dance before, oh my God, you got to go see his wife dance. She is fantastic. Um, it's a joy to be a part of the family. That's the thing that I love so much about Derrick. It's he's my brother. He's my brother, and I don't even say from another mother. Derrick's mother is much like my mother was, so we the same as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's when I first started in this business, like when you first start out, you don't really get a say so in
Yeah.
who you like to work with. Like there was another illustrator that they offered, Scholastic when we did the Ruby series, but I don't remember who she was, but she just wasn't fly enough, man. So they gave me like two other options, and my eyes always went back to Vanessa's characters. If you follow her on social media, I'm sure a lot of people that are on it now do. Her characters just make you feel good, man. Like she could just post anything, and you want to keep that image. Those images stay in your head,
Yeah.
all day of these children, regardless of what race they are. They just make you feel good, and I just knew that she was the one. And I've had to learn, I've had to learn recently how to kind of get along and how each illustrator is kind of different. I'm kind of a control freak, my work. I know what I want to see,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have to learn how to not step on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
Vanessa is easy to work with in that way. I try to start off the project telling the illustrator what I would like to see,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't mind that. Like she will actually come to me and ask me what I think about certain things.
I certainly
Well,
will.
some illustrators don't want to talk to you at all. They just want the manuscript, and they want to interpret the work, the best way that they can. So
Mhm.
I've kind of had to learn how to work differently because I got so spoiled with working with her. But everything that we do seems to work. So I want everybody to work like Vanessa, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
love it when y'all two link up and do things together. We have more questions here. What tips do you have for other aspiring children's authors? And that is from Sasha. Who wants to take that? Tips for aspiring children's authors.
Derrick is the pro on this. But coming from a dyslexic person, I find that when we are authentic to ourselves and we tell the stories that are near and dear to us, even tell stories about ourselves. Sometimes, as authors, I think sometimes what people try to do, and this is where you mess up, is to go outside of yourself and tell a story.
Yes.
It's really important to kind of rein in and go back to your childhood. Go back to the things that you enjoyed or the things you didn't enjoy. Like I shared last week, that uncle that was very interesting, or when you were riding the bus with your mom or your dad, what lady stood there with a purse that you were just interested in knowing what was in her handbag, or where they were going, things like that. uh, uh, as a new author, it is so important that you find your voice and you find your voice from just steadily writing every single day. I think one of my favorite writers, Tamika Fryer Brown, who is a fabulous writer as well, and Kelly Sterling Lyons, also another fabulous writer. And one of the things that Kelly shared was write with your five senses.
Mm.
It's so important that you write with your five senses. It's not just enough to say, oh, the person was sad, but how can you take that word sad and
Expand it.
turn it into, yeah, the saltiness of her tears she tasted. That
Mm-hmm.
that can definitely say how sad she was.
Right.
That kind of thing. So we want to write with our senses as well. So I really encourage you, to go back into your childhood and find the things that were interesting to you that you can give voice to. And there's an authenticity, because as readers, we really want authentic writers to tell their tale, because somewhere in there, we will begin to feel you. We'll begin to feel you and understand, oh, okay. And even if we didn't go through that thing, okay, you gave me a picture. You gave me a word picture. I love when Derrick said, I write and give you word pictures. And for me as an illustrator, when I begin to read your story and I start to hear music or I begin to see pictures, you got me.
Yeah. Yeah. Great tips. And Tamika is actually here. Tamika Fryer Brown is here. So shout out to Tamika.
Yeah, I miss going to. We would get together at least once a month, and we would go to breakfast. I miss doing that. So, the world seems to be opening back up slowly. So maybe we can all get together again, man.
Yes, me and Tamika have already discussed it.
All right, good.
Gerard, I see you.
Yeah.
Good.
Derrick, so the question was, before you got cut off, tips for aspiring children's authors. Do you have any?
Yeah, just continue to work on your craft. It's like I was saying, like what are you trying to say, and who are you trying to make work for, and just read as much as you possibly can. Like figure out the market, figure out where your voice. When I work for Hallmark Cards. One of the phrases that I had never heard up until this point is just developing your own voice. Like, where do you fit in? There is room for everyone. I admire so many different writers, and I actually pull from a lot of different writers, but I continue to work on my own distinct voice. Like, where does Derrick Barnes fit in? If there's no name on the cover of the books, I want people to eventually be able to read my work and go, this sounds like Derrick Barnes. This sounds like something that Derrick Barnes write. I'm constantly working on that. I get so many emails from people who have never written before, who a lot of people just look at children's writing or writing period as like a lottery ticket. A lot of people, I see a lot of hustlers too. Like they don't really want to work on a craft. They just want to make money. They just want to be, celebrities or that kind of thing. And this is not the business for that. It took us, forever to get to this point. And although there are a lot of writers who do have that celebrity thing going on, that's not why I'm into this. I want to be remembered again as being one of the best, at least the best during this period of time. When I was right, Vanessa's already there to me. She's one of the greatest children's book illustrators to me ever. And if you don't have that goal in mind, if you don't have anything to say, if you don't want to be remembered as being one of the greatest, if you don't want to contribute to, I always see myself as a soldier, like somebody that's, contributing to everything that's good in the world. If you create children's books, you have to see yourself that way.
Yeah.
My ideal dream is seeing children, in the airport when I travel and seeing them with one of our books tucked underneath their arms because we make them feel good when they see Vanessa's images or when they read a story that I wrote. We make them feel good. We make them feel hopeful, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. You have to see yourself that way. And it's not about how much money you can make. And, again, I see a lot of people that are just hustlers, man. It just irritates me. You've never written before in your life. And all of a sudden you want to be a children's book author, man. I just don't get it. It's a little bit, there's no entry point in regards to being a writer, but being an illustrator, you have to have talent. Oh, yeah. So, people come to me all the time, like I said, that have never written before, that don't have any sincere interest in writing for children.
Right.
And I just don't have a lot of tolerance for that because, again, like I said, we've been grinding. We've been grinding a long time to get to this point, So read as much as you possibly can and have something to say.
Absolutely. All right. Vanessa, somebody's asking, can you post a music playlist on your Instagram?
Oh, I most certainly will.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. Thank you so much. They're all up in my business because honestly, music is the other paint that's on my palette. And I tell people this all the time. When I'm illustrating, if you are an illustrator that likes to work with no sound, good for you. Doesn't work for me. I gotta have some music going on in the background. Me and Derrick have traded music. I love neo soul. It is one of my favorites. It is my Jill Scott. It is my Tank and the Bangers. It's my Moonchild. It's almost anybody you can probably Daniel Caesar. Everybody. I just love the sound and those chords. Like I said, because I have synesthesia, they create pictures in my head or colors. And so it really does help me a great deal. But as Derrick said, this has been a grind. And I so agree with him. When people come and think that this is just an easy thing, that writing for children is so easy. That's why I want to write for children. Not gonna work. I haven't won the awards that Derrick has won. And I've even cried. I'm being very, very transparent. I've even cried, Derrick, why did I get an award and all that kind of stuff? But when I really shared with you last week in going to these school visits and seeing these children, and I think I told you about the story of when I went to Texas. Maybe I didn't. I go to the Texas Book Festival, and they ask me every year to come to the Texas Book Festival because of just the response from the kids. And I go to this completely Mexican school. It's just all Mexican children, beautiful children. And I don't mind telling y'all, I'm a big busted woman. I got boobs.
Yes.
And I hear, hey lady, and I'm like, who's calling me? What's going on? And I pull boobs back, and there's this little boy standing under me, and I'm like, okay, because I provide shade for a small boy. I do. Yeah. So, he goes, "You're gonna give me a book?" And I think I told you that last week. I'm gonna give you a book. You're not gonna take it back. No, I'm not gonna take it back. I can take it home and read it to Abuelo. You can take it home and read it to Abuelo. I love you, lady. Then he just grabs me around my legs. I'm only 5'2". He must have been about 4'11", and he grabs me, around my legs to tell me how much he loved me, and that he enjoyed the book. And that's the reward. It wasn't about the awards, but rather the reward of children loving what I do.
Yeah.
When I take pictures and they can go back and look at themselves and go, wow, she saw me. And so when Derrick and I come together and we're able to put those two things together to create this wonderful sandwich of love for children to eat and feel nourished and feel encouraged and feel elated and joyful, that's everything to me.
Yes.
That's everything to me.
Love that, Vanessa. Yes.
Did you tell them that it was raining outside and that's why he was standing there underneath his umbrella?
No, it was hilarious. It was so hilarious. I think of it, and I have literally gotten up at conferences and told that story and cried because I think it was Ty Allen Jackson last week said, "I don't want my books standing or sitting on the shelves of Barnes and Nobles. I want to get my books into the hands of children." And he was so right. I so appreciate him for saying that. It has kind of stuck with me. It is, you know, it it's not for the faint and the weak of heart to write books for children. It is not the easiest thing to do. When Eric does it, when Derrick, I'm sorry, when Derrick does it, when Kwame Alexander does it, when Tamika Fire Brown or Kelly Sterling Lyons or Gerard Polk, when they're writing books, this is no easy task. It really isn't. It takes a long time, and Gerard and I are both writer and illustrators. It sometimes even takes longer for your own books. So to find the words. Sometimes for me as a dyslexic person, I have to come up with the pictures sometimes first and let the pictures tell me what the story is going to be. Okay. So, everybody's different, but.
Okay. All right. We're going to look for that playlist on that music playlist on Instagram. Yes. All right. We got a few more questions. Let's see. Okay. So last week we learned that publishers usually match an author with an illustrator. Is that still the case for you two, or do publishers just know that you are a dream team and match you together at your request?
I think at this point we've been blessed enough to be able to call our own shots.
Yeah.
For my next 5 books coming out, I've had an opportunity to choose some young illustrators who haven't had a lot of experience. So I'm very fortunate to be able to work with these young talented folks, and hopefully our book is the book that kind of sets things off for their career. I'm working with 2 comic book illustrators, so this is a whole new world for them. I have one book coming out in 2024. It's called The Brothers, and I was slated to work with the great Floyd Cooper, who actually passed away last year. So I was really looking forward to working with him, but we've.
Oh no, not again. I want to know who did they get for the replacement for Floyd, but we'll find out when Derrick comes back.
Yeah, that was very hard.
Yeah, that was very, very hard.
Very hard.
Yes.
But, we get a chance, Derrick and I, mostly, from Andrea Pinkney, who had he and I working together, to Nancy Polson, who brought us together again. And so we're a team, but Derrick is he's just an amazing writer. He's an amazing storyteller. That I don't want him to miss any opportunity to work with any other illustrator. He needs to work with all illustrators.
Right.
But to that question, when you are a new writer, they usually pick your illustrator for your particular book. That is just common what happens in this industry. I will tell you that they want to sell books, so they're going to really find the best illustrator they possibly can for the job. And so you will probably get matched with a new illustrator, but not to worry, because like I said, they want to make sure that you're happy as well.
Right.
It's not just about your book getting published. They want to make sure that you're happy as well.
That's right. So someone is asking, any advice on self-publishing or any Black-owned publishing houses that you recommend? Last week we did have Deneen Milner on here, she is a Black woman. She has her own imprint under Simon & Schuster, and it's called Deneen Milner Books. So although Simon & Schuster is not a Black-owned publishing house, Deneen Milner Books is a Black imprint that you can look into.
Yes.
And if you go back to last week's episode, it's on my YouTube page. And hopefully, who's asking the question? Hopefully you're on my email list. And if you are, I sent out the link for that last week. But if you're not, is it Matoshi? Matoshi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can just email me after this. It's hello@hereweread.com. And then I can get you the link to last week's episode. And then you can hear Deneen. She actually explains the process, how to submit to her publishing house as well. So if you want to do that, Matoshi, I hope I'm saying your name right. I'll get you that information. Derrick, welcome back.
All right. I'm so sorry. My internet connection is
it's raining here in Charlotte too, Derrick.
Yeah, it is.
It's raining. Okay, no worries. I wanted to know, who did they replace Floyd Cooper with?
I replace that's another thing. We were talking about Nancy. Nancy is really open to whatever ideas you may have. So whoever I bring to her, like I brung a guy that's probably the best Black comic book illustrator in the business. He works with Marvel and he works with DC. His name is Sean Martinborough. We're doing a hybrid picture book graphic novel. It's called Like Lava in My Veins, where I address the inordinate amount of Black boys that are in the in special ed classes. And so that book comes out in 2024. But
wow.
But the book called The Brothers, the young brother that steps in for Floyd, which is some huge shoes to fill. His name is Shamar Knight Justice, and he's also a principal at his own school. So you guys check him out, Shamar Knight Justice. And I have my first Christmas book comes out next year with a young lady named Courtney Lovett. She's and it's called Santa Has Got to Go. I saw a lot of books come out this past Christmas, with Black Santas, but I always want to go in another direction. I don't want to. I didn't want to do a traditional Santa. I had a conversation with my third son, Silas, the boy that's on the cover of Crown, and he thought it would be a great idea if Santa can actually stay at our house and play video games and hang out. And so I built a story around that idea. Like, what if Santa did come and stay, and he was a horrible house guest? You know what I mean? Like, he ate up all your food. He didn't clean up behind himself. So this Santa, and she did an excellent job. I want to create a Santa that was Black, obviously, but she created what y'all call him, a zaddy. He's just
so he
Santa is sexy. He has tattoos. He has sleeves. But he created a garage band with him and a bunch of other old Black guys, and he just really tears the house up. But he's so excited about having a break. His sleigh broke down, and so he needed this part called a yip fuse. So he had to stay at this Black family's house for a whole week. And he was so grateful that they opened up their home to him that he told all of his friends. And the ending of this book is such a shock, man. I can't wait till y'all see this book.
Oh my God.
I'm so looking forward to this.
Santa Has Got to Go, man.
Yeah. What is that? Is that 24?
24, yeah.
Oh man, we gotta wait. We gotta wait a whole year.
Oh, trust me, Shanae, it's gonna be worth waiting for.
I know it will be.
About this book, I laughed so hard.
Yeah,
it was hilarious. It's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
I just signed my first animation deal. I'm gonna be the lead writer and executive producer on this project. We signed it with a major streaming service. Yes, thank you. And a major Hollywood player. This sister actually came after me. I was so honored. She wanted me to write this write this cartoon series, and that comes out in 24 as well. It comes out in the fall. So
wait, is it gonna be on TV?
no, it's gonna be on one of the large streaming services.
Oh,
It's
streaming
not,
services.
yeah, so
But
it's
you
not.
can't say which one yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Wow. Congratulations on that. Yes. Can't wait. Well, what is it gonna be? What is it gonna be called? Can you say that?
If I say the name, then y'all probably know what it is. It's gonna be a updated version of an extremely popular children's book, and I'm just bringing this character up to the present.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Got a lot to look
I'm still busy, man. We sending our second son to college. Although he landed a football scholarship. Man, it's something, when they're young right now, like, your children are young. We had to really start talking to them when they were in middle school and probably in the 6th grade about y'all have to do y'all part. Like, they didn't grow up the way we grew up. I mean, I grew up hard, grew up with not a lot of money. And the things that they are afforded right now, like I call them rich Black boys because they don't really understand the struggle. But you still have to do your part. Like, even though we may be doing a lot better, than we did when we were growing up, and you don't have to worry about a lot of things from a financial standpoint. You do your part in the classroom, all your activities, so you can pay for your own education. It's for them. I don't want to have to pay tuition for 4 kids, even if I'm able to do that. Do your part, make your money, kick butt in your classrooms, do well in all of your activities. And so Solo was able to help us out. Ezra wasn't able to, even though he made good grades, he didn't do enough to get a full ride. So we have to pay. He's a junior at North Carolina A&T. Solo was going to Fayetteville State, HBCUs in the house. Hopefully they all go to HBCUs, which would be great. So yeah, he leaves in June.
Okay.
And then Silas will be leaving in 2 years, and he wants to go to Xavier in New Orleans. And it just be poor little Namdi at the house, man. It just,
Time for another baby.
Man, when I saw those twins, I said that would have been perfect if we had 4 boys and twin girls. That would have been perfect. I would have loved to have. I wouldn't even know how to raise girls. I wouldn't know how to discipline them. I wouldn't know how to talk to them. I think I'll be a pretty good girl dad, but it's been fun raising these boys, man.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been the greatest part of my life, really, just being the head of this family, raising these boys.
Love it.
Yeah. Yes. All right, we're gonna. I'm gonna take one more question because it's 9:25. I want to be respectful of time here. So we have a couple of things popping off in the chat, but someone is saying, Derrick, you have a full plate. How many writing projects would you suggest working on at a time so as to give your stories a fighting chance that they will be published?
I guess I have to look at that from 2 different points of views. Like when I was working on books that we couldn't get published, I remember working on like 3 or 4 books at a time. Obviously it depends on how much time you have that free to actually work on these projects, and also the different age groups. So when I was working on a middle grade novel, which requires a lot more time than a picture book. Picture book is usually typed like 2 pages, and usually takes me about maybe 2 or 3 weeks, to work on that. A chapter book series, which is I guess 2nd through 4th or 5th grade, it's usually like 10 chapters. That usually takes about 2 or 3 months. And obviously, the older you go, the longer. And you have to do research, which I love doing. I'm a huge research nerd. I just like having information. It just depends on what your family situation is like and how you are built. I feel like I'm built different than most people, so I can work on multiple projects. Right now I'm working on two, and I just kind of split my days up. So today is Henson Blaze Day. Tomorrow is the next book, which is graphic novel, and my third book with Gordon C. James. I'm working on that book, so I just kind of split my time up. But it depends on what's going on with that artist.
Okay. Any final words from both of you? There's so much going on, right now that we could touch upon. We're still living through a global pandemic. There's banning of books going on, specifically books by creators of color. The war, like there's just so much going on. I want to kind of leave this on a happy note. But any final words for, starting with Vanessa, also anything that you want to share, how people can connect with you, any of that.
Oh, well, please connect with me here on Instagram at Vanessa Brantley-Newton. You can visit my website, vanessabrantleynewton.com. You can also find me on Facebook in two places as Vanessa Newton and then as Vanessa Brantley-Newton on Facebook. I do not do Twitter, so you won't find me on Twitter. But I would love to say to your audience, this is not an easy work to do. You have to put in the hard work. As Illustrator, draw every day. Draw the things that you love. Post the things that you love, not the things that people are going to criticize you on. And when I say criticize you, oh, you need to fix this, you need to fix that. Put out the work that you're proud of, and do it as often as you possibly can. The other thing is, listen, we can't carry everything. We need people. We need relationships. And if we can fall in the arms of a loved one, husband, your lover, or whatever, wife, be able to love and, not spend so much time watching the news every day, all day, especially for creatives like us. Do not watch the news every day, y'all. Don't do it, because it will stop the flow. It is a big stopper in the creative hopper. So you don't need that. You don't need that. Listen to it when you need to, but give yourself the time that you need. Be kind to you. The reason why we're not kind to others sometimes is because we can't stand our own selves. Take some time for yourself. Love you. It'll help you love other people. Trust me, it will.
Yes. Derrick, any final words from you? How can people connect with you on social? I see people popping in your information in the chat, but
yes, Veronica. Thank you, Veronica.
Yeah.
My website is derrickdbarnes.com. You can find me on Facebook and on Instagram at author Derrick D. Barnes. There's so much going on right now. A lot going on in Russia and Israel and Palestine, and this global pandemic and mask and vaccine mandates that people are fighting against, and there's so much going on. But I just encourage every single person that is on right now to see yourself as part of the solution. That's one of the things that has helped me to stay, optimistic, and to, we're going to get to the other side of all of these things that are going on right now. And I want to be a part of the thing that helps you get through it every single day. No matter what you do for a living, everybody that's on here right now, there's somebody that looks forward to your energy every single day. And we need you, and I need you. Whatever it is that you do for a living, think about yourself as a part of the solution. And we're going to get through this thing. So every time I sit down to work on a book, I know that I'm writing something that's helping a child feel good about themselves. And that's going to help them to at least make it to another day, or make it through the week, or make it to the next month.
Yes.
So look at yourself as a part of the greater good. Like we need you, your family needs you, your community needs you. There's somebody that loves the mess out of you, and they need to see you every single day. They need to hear your voice.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that just been helping me make it through this thing. That I know that my family loves me, and that my family needs me, and the people who buy my books. I'm so grateful for y'all. I'm so grateful that I get up every single morning and I have opportunity to do the things that I do every single day. And one of the things that I pray for when we get together as a family and pray, I pray for righteous leadership all over the world, not just in your city or state or in this country, but all over the world. Leadership that actually cares about the people. That's one thing that we haven't had. We haven't had a leadership that actually cares about the inner workings of what goes on in the lives of all this, all of its citizens. Yeah, I can name a few states that have governors that have no idea, they have no earthly reason to be a governor of an entire state. They are ruining that state. So I pray for leadership. I pray for leadership in this home to help me to be the head of this household, so that my sons can stay optimistic, that my wife can, continue doing what she does, because we wouldn't be able to make it without her. And I know you ladies are, the same. I just got through playing a video for my sons before they left. I don't know if you guys, listen to Robert Glasper. I know Vanessa does. He has a new album out, and at the end of one of the songs is called Black Superhero. He talk about Black women and how Black women are the genesis of creation.
That's
for
right.
everything that's on everybody on this planet comes from a Black woman, and how important you all are. And I appreciate y'all so much. You too. I'm talking to y'all too, and every other Black woman that's on here.
We love you.
Yes.
Charnay, thank you so much. You were one of the first, influencers on IG that really embraced my work. And so I'm always going to be grateful for that. And I thank you so very much. You are building a media empire, one project at a time. And I am such a fan of yours. Vanessa, you know how I feel about you. I love you so very much. And I hope we continue to make books together till we can't make them no more.
That's it. I'm telling you.
No more, but no more. So it's just a privilege and an honor to be on here with y'all tonight. So
yes, honor to have you, Vanessa. You want to take us out in a song?
Oh my goodness, I knew she was going to ask. Here we go. We are like children, we're painted on canvases, picking up shades as we go. We start off with gesso, brushed on by people we know. Watch your technique as you go. Step back and admire my view. Can I pick the colors I choose? Do I have some say what I use? Can I get some green with my blue? We are just like children. We are just like children. Good night.
Good night. Vanessa Brantley-Newton, Derrick Barnes. Yes, love you both so much. Queen of Kindergarten, May 27th or somewhere around there. Is that what you said, May 27th?
Yes.
Pick up Queen of Kindergarten's coming out. Pick up all of Vanessa's new coming books. Look for her cover reveal coming on my page Monday, March 14th for Mary Has a Little Plan. Derrick has so much stuff going on. The animated series, the graphic novel. I mean, y'all are just so inspirational. Thank you for being here tonight to grace us with your presence. Thank you for your time and thank you for your work. And we just love you. We just love you. So thank you
love
so much.
You more. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Charnay. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, people are giving y'all love in the comments.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you. Veronica, you still here?
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Veronica. Love you.
Hello, beautiful people. Hello.
Thank you so much, Veronica, for letting us use your space again.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So next time we will I have my own space. So this is still the space from Black Children's Book Week. And but I have a space just like this with a couch just like this. So next time I'll be chatting with somebody else right here on the virtual couch, but it'll be in my own space next time. But thank you again, Veronica, for this. And it was just so nice. So nice. I'm so happy.
Of course. Thank you all. You all have made my evening. And Derrick, I follow Tika, your wife, on Instagram. She is so dope. I don't even know her. She's She's goals.
Tika is all that. Yes, she is.
I think